Good morning, good morning. It is summer. How awesome is this? So we are now at the end of June, almost hitting July, which means officially it's summer. And to be honest, we have had some cracking summer weather, especially this week, which is making things a bit awkward for filming, because when it's like that, I can't film because the camera just overheats. So we are out very early in the morning so that we can get a bit of a June update in the garden, and we're going to focus, I'll show you everything, but we're going to focus on the food side of the garden this month, just for fun. Right, you two, are you ready? Roll the intro then. Okay, so I said we're going to focus on the whole food side of things, but I am sitting on my upturned plant pot like our Willie here, because I need to show you this first. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go around and look at all the pretties in the garden in the first half, and in the second half we're going to concentrate on the food side of things. And what I'll do, because I know you guys all have your things that you like, so I will put some timings down in the description, so if you want to jump to the food stuff later on, you'll be able to click on that link. But you know, you'll miss a lot of the pretties if you do that. So we're starting here because I'm so excited. You guys know I love my Ganzia. I took seeds from these guys last year and grew some on. But these are actually last year's because they are perennials. They come back again. And I'm just so excited because these are my favourite flowers, and my favourite flowers to photograph as well. You guys have probably seen all the photos I've taken. I'll put a few while I'm talking just so you can see them just in case. For those of you who don't realise, I'm also a photographer. But yeah, I love these guys. So these are called Frosty Kisses, and I love them. So they also get called African daisies, I think, but I've got the kind of creamy colours with a purple stripe there, and I've got these beautiful bright orange with a kind of reddy orange stripe, and oh, they're just gorgeous. The flip side of that is it's looking a wee bit boring under the tree now because that stuff's all past. So I have planted some bits and bobs in there that were just waiting to come up. So we just have to be a bit patient because, you know, that's the name of the game with gardening. Excuse me, stop chewing that courgette. Cats. And now she's looking like butter wouldn't melt in her mouth. So the next awesome thing that's just like, oh, exciting, hanging baskets. And my petunias. Let's go look. I swear, Penny, you go back indoors. Don't have cats. Or, you know, don't let them eat your plants. So I'm just starting with a zoom into these here, just so you can see them. So these are the two types of petunias that I've grown this year. Again, seeds I took from the petunias last year. And we've got there on the bottom right, those are the ones that I called Stars and Stripes and then panicked, but yes, they are called Stars and Stripes. And the ones that are the full colour with the kind of white frill around the edges, I've forgotten. I've gone blank again. Insert name here. I think those are Frost, but I'll check for you and I'll insert the name in for you. So I'll zoom out. So this is the baskets on the back of the house. Just generally, I think, looking stunning. But not the only place we've got the baskets. So again, same varieties. We've got the same varieties throughout the garden, but again, two baskets on the side of the shed, above the foxgloves and our little bees with kazoos who appear and keep us company. They make the most weird noise when they're in the foxgloves. It sounds like they're blown through a kazoo, so I'll see if I can capture that for you at some point. But yeah, so side of the shed baskets as well. So we've got front of the house, back of the house, side of the shed, and we've got the baskets along the fence. So you can see why I try and grow as much as I can, because it costs a fortune if you have to buy all this stuff all the time. And again, the baskets are annuals rather than perennials, so those have to be replenished every year, as opposed to all the stuff that's in the beds in the garden. Most of that is perennials that will come back time and again, and we just dot some annuals through. So yeah, so looking stunning. That is the little plant muncher. Penny. hydrangea. It's looking awesome. Really full, coming back. We're starting to get flowers. Can anyone tell me that why do cats eat plants? The both of them do it. She's the worst. They go and they chew on all the flowers and eat them, and then they throw up. Usually in the living room carpet. They wait till they come inside. But they chew my plants. But yeah, so hydrangea. This one, I'm glad this one's come back and is looking so awesome. Yes, I see you, Miss Wriggly Belly. Yes, camera's that way. You need to wriggle in that direction. Let them see. This was actually a present from two really good friends of ours who were actually our best man and bridesmaid at our wedding as well. And this was our housewarming present when we moved in here. And as you can see, it is looking stunning. And I've got a bit of a confession. If you grow hydrangeas, you'll know this. But if you don't grow them, you may not realise. As you can see just now, these flowers have got a slight pink tinge. They're coming out and they're going to be a kind of pinky purple. You also will see this exact hydrangea and the flowers will be more of a blue, light blue violet colour. That's up to you what colour you want them to be. It's determined by the pH level of the soil, so you can actually change it. So I'll see if I've got some photos to show you actually. But we've had this one be blue and be pink depending on my mood that season, because I just play with it. Is that wrong? But I do love this hydrangea, it's gorgeous. You happy? Can I leave you to not eat my plants if I move from here? Yeah, can I? Can I leave you to not eat my plants? Notice anything? I won. She gave in yesterday and cut the spikes off because they were trailing over her chair when she was reading, and it was dropping sticky sap and the ants were everywhere. I won. So as you can see, we did a video in spring and this was a wall of colour because a lot of the stuff that's here is spring flowering. So we've still got the dianthus are still popping out some flowers. A lot of the alpines, they've flowered and passed now. The trees, the blossom on the trees is past. But we've still got a lot of colour because we've got a lot of the greens. So we've got the different shades of green in the leaves here, and it's nice and it's structural in height. We've got this really feathery, frongy, I suppose you'd call it, leaves on the acer that are the really deep kind of maroony purple, and then it's the green underside, so they're quite nice, and that's quite nice in the wind. But it's just these heights and structure, so even with just leaves you can still have a nice wee awesome area. But we do have to have a think and say, right, do we want to change this up to have more flowers in summer, or are we happy with it just being the greenery like this? And I'm thinking this might become a permanent feature, because at the minute this is my tester, well, the foxgloves, which you know was stunning. I may build a bed here and actually have a proper bed and make this a permanent feature, now that we know that it works really well. And it's really awesome having that blast of colour there. So that is the updates I'm going to give you in terms of the flowers and stuff, because that's what has really changed since last time round. So now let's have a look at all the food stuff in the garden, because now that we're hitting summer for us here in Scotland, this is when we start to get our harvest and see it coming. I am quite jealous because I've got a lot of friends down south that have been harvesting for 3 and 4 weeks, and really other than herbs and salad. But we are now harvesting this. Careful not to sit on strawberries. But yes, our awesome strawberry bed. We have already had 3 big bowlfuls of strawberries from this in the last week. It's all just starting to turn now. So you saw a couple of weeks ago that I had to deal with the aphids. We had a massive aphid problem in this bed. I said then I will never get on top of it, just because this bed is so cramped and so together. But it is much better than it was. So yeah, it's much better. It is much better. It just means I have to give the strawberries a rinse mostly, or keep an eye on them. But we have got so many. So I've already had 3 big bowlfuls. This was last night. And already I'm going to have to pick more today, because this is the trick with the strawberries. And I'm going to do a video about strawberries specifically for you guys, because I went through some of the old videos on my journey with the strawberries and they're a bit rubbish. So I'm going to do you an update, one video with start to finish strawberries. But one of the things I'm having to do is pick every day, because if I leave right strawberries in this bed, basically all the little animals that live around here, slugs, snails, pests, you know, the slaters, the works, will eat them. So I have to get in there fast. Because, as you can see, already today, there are loads. I'm going to have to get a bowl, there's too many to hold. This is what I'm talking about. If I leave these too long, holes get chewed in them, and the slaters are usually in there when I pick them up. I've been told it's not the slaters that are the problem, it's usually slugs that are the problem, but then the slaters get in. So, those go to the birds. But that's a really good reason why you need to go and be doing this every day, because that one was not like that yesterday. So, not bad haul. We had about that much last night as well, and the day before. What I need to do now, you can see I'm wet because I need to give these all a rinse off before I take it indoors, and I need to clean up my hands and arms before I take you in the greenhouse, because I don't want to transfer aphids and things from there, take it into the greenhouse with me. You could think, oh, it's a pain having it, but it's not as much of a pain as having to deal with an infestation of aphids in the greenhouse, trust me. So, dump these indoors, and before we hit the greenhouse, we'll quickly have a look at the courgettes. So, courgettes. We originally started growing them all in pots in the greenhouse, and it was amazing. We got so many courgettes, but it takes up so much space. So about maybe 2, maybe even 3 years ago now, God, I have to check, we decided to start growing them outdoors. So we started off in a bed, and we had 2 in this bed. Did really, really well, quite pleased. The only thing we found was we weren't always seeing them, because 2 courgettes or 3 courgettes in a bed, there's a lot of leaves when they're fully grown, and you can't always see. So we were missing loads of courgettes. And by the time we found them, without a word of a lie, they were like about that long and about that thick, just crazy. So what I've done this year is I've got one here, looking good, looking healthy. What I did was, these were the 2 biggest of the plants, healthiest of the plants. I had some more little scrawny plants that I thought if I put them out, I'm not certain they'll survive. So I thought, let's have a fun experiment. They're here. I have never done this before, so I don't know if this is completely crazy, but I thought, I've got spare quadgrows because, as you guys know, I've cut back on what I'm growing in the greenhouse in the quadgrows this year. So, since I am using the new quadgrow to grow my tomatoes, to kind of see how that is and give you guys a bit of a review, which is where we're going next, this old version I've got outdoors, and I'm going to try the courgettes for a couple of reasons. I've heard that, and this is the thing, I'm going to get the camera in to show you the difference. You will see here, I get a lot of this white on the leaves and the courgettes. Now, I've spoken about this in videos with you guys, and I had real panics because every year we have real issues with this. I always thought it was powdery mildew, and that was what made me put these courgettes like this, because I thought it'd be great to do a comparison. If it's in a quadgrow and it's getting that really regular watering thing, will I have a problem with powdery mildew? Hello, Parker. So I thought it'd be great to do a contrast and compare type thing. However, I've since learned that that is not powdery mildew, even though that gets incredibly white and the leaves start to die. That's just natural, and it's just what the plant does, so I don't have to worry. Here's the crazy thing though. Since I've sat here, this was not here yesterday, this courgette has powdery mildew, which is different because it's these little spots of white and it's powder that brushes off. That is powdery mildew. So instead of contrast and compare, with a Quadgrow for that reason. We'll do a contrast and compare. The Quadgrow, do I get more courgettes, better courgettes? How does the even watering affect the versus in the beds? This is going to be a perfect little thing to show you because, don't know if I mentioned this in the video, but neem oil is awesome for powdery mildew because it's antifungal. So this little guy will be getting sprayed with neem oil when I'm finished filming today. Oh, this one's got it as well. Okay, do I show you the... I'm not going to show you the beetroots because it's just beetroot and carrots, no different. Greenhouse. Oh, actually, Kate will never forgive me. I have to tell you about this before we go to the greenhouse. I've got mulch caps on these for the canes because I thought that would actually be really good. One of the things that I've discovered with growing courgettes in the pots that gets quite difficult is as the plant grows, it does actually get a stem, which then eventually with the winds here will fall over and it can snap and it gets quite annoying. I'm going to try growing this up using these canes. Don't know if it'll work. More about the whole experimenting thing. The way I see it is I've got 2 plants over there that I know will be fine, so I'll risk it. What's the worst that can happen? I end up with loads of courgettes. Can always go to the neighbours. Right, okay, greenhouse this time. In the name of the wee man. I did it again, I didn't tell you. The reason I came back and sat down and said that Kate will kill me if I don't tell you about this. Mulch caps, canes. Okay, now we go back to the other bit. Old Quadgrow doesn't have the bit for the canes. It doesn't have that kind of top on it with the holes for the canes. I thought what I'll do is, itchy because courgettes, I thought I would just tie string around the pots for the canes and hold them in place, and it was okay, except when it was really windy and then it would get blown and they'd all kind of go crumbly and stuff. So Kate just knocked this together. It's nothing fancy. It's just some wood in a frame with holes drilled in it for the canes. But it's fabby, what a brilliant job. Just bits of wood that were left behind the shed. But yeah, she's quite proud of it, so I had to tell you about it. So give her lots of love in the comments, guys. It's doing the job awesome. This time, I promise, greenhouse. Oh, so race against time. It's getting super hot. It is already roasting in here. Oh. And I've opened all the vents because it was so steamed up from overnight and it's starting to clear, but it's still a wee bit misty. So it's quite unpleasant in here. But, yeah, so I'm guessing already you can see the big change in here. So Jim is now taller than I am, but to be fair, that's not unusual really, is it? Yep, so you can see 4 tomatoes are looking glorious. The Marmande, which is the indeterminate one, is not as tall as all the others. The other 3 are bush tomatoes. And Jim, which is a blue, indigo blue cherry, and the one at the end that doesn't have a name is a sweet million red cherry. And this one is a little plum that I'm just trying to look at its name, but oh yeah, Roma. How could I forget about the Roma tomatoes? Yeah, so this one is the smallest of them all, followed by the Marmande. These 2 are huge, but yeah, really happy. So, new Quadgrow then. Happy with the tomatoes. They are tall. Jim has got a few little, well no actually Jim's got 1 tomato on him, but lots of flowers. The Sweet Million has about 2 or 3 little tomatoes, lots of flowers. The Marmande has currently, he's trying to trash my hair. The Marmande has currently 3 tomatoes. It had 5, but I knocked 2 off when I was pruning. Oops. The little Roma's got nothing yet. But the thing is, it is super, super early in the season for tomatoes for us here. It will be end of July, possibly, before I'm actually starting to get tomatoes to eat. So I'm not stressing about that. Watering in these guys, the new Quadgrow. So the thing with the new Quadgrow is, what's different is instead of it being that long trough like you saw with the courgettes, it's 2 separate troughs that aren't as long. Instagram message from my phone. They aren't as long, but they are slightly wider, and each of them is its own separate trough with a little tube that connects it really to make it one watering reservoir or trough. But each of them has its own little hole where you fill it, which is actually way easier for me to get in and out of. So I'm really liking how it's built and kind of that idea of it. Also, as I mentioned, it's got the supports. So the mulch cap has the hole for the canes, but the base comes with the holes in it already. So that's quite cool for the support. So I'm trying that out this year. I have done strings attached to the roof of the greenhouse, bamboo canes. Last year I had my fancy silver kinky sticks. In fact, I'll do loads of links, okay? So I'm going to do a link to... Oh, in fact, do you know what? I'm not going to just tell you loads of the different links. Just go up and there'll be a big list of all the videos about all this stuff from before. Just go mad. Fill your boots, as my dad would say. Right, so I've lost track of what I was talking about now. Yeah, the new Quadgrow. So it has the double canes, which I thought might actually be really good because I grow a lot of bush tomatoes, and just having one support string is a bit rubbish, to be honest. So I'm trying to use this as a way to form some sort of cage. Okay, so yep, really liking that. The one thing I don't like is it's actually shorter than the old version, and growing bush tomatoes was difficult in the old version because you can see they're so cramped together. It's even harder in this one now the tomatoes are actually closer together again. So I haven't been able to do it yet because we're still quite locked down in Scotland. There are some easings happening next week, but we're still not back to normal yet, and it'll be a while before we are. But I have just got some stoppers that Greenhouse Sensations are now doing, which means I can actually disconnect these two troughs and make it two separate. Instead of quad grows, they're not dual grows because that's a real thing, but it is that there's two in each. So I'm waiting on this emptying because it's currently full of water and feed. When that happens, I'm going to do that. So I will update you guys on that one. But for the moment, very quick update to this stage. I'm liking the new design, I really am. I've got my copper tape on it to deal with the slugs, because again, videos, you guys know I've had loads of issues with slugs in the quad grows. Not that they were actually eating the plants, but they basically moved in en masse, and that was a slug hotel, because it's black and it's wet and it's dark. Of course they're going to move in. So yeah, so copper tape's on. So far, really, really happy. This side of the greenhouse, I'll move the camera a wee bit. I'm thirsty, it's so hot. I'm using this new rig. In fact, I'm going to, hang on. Let's have a bit of fun. Who was the Instagram message from? So, Grow with Chantel, that was you that just messaged me while I'm filming. Yeah. Also, Grow with Chantel has been in touch lots about things to do with neem and soapy water sprays and things as well. We chat a lot on Instagram. Right, okay, why did I get my camera out? Yes, because I'm going to do this. I'm going to show you this, right? So, mobile phone quality video coming up, but this is what I'm doing now. So, I don't know how good this is going to be for you guys. This is the first time using it, but I've now got this arm that I'm attaching the camera to, because normally it's on that big tripod there, and stopping the video. This is another video I'm going to do, specifically been asked for, but when I've got the tripod in the greenhouse with the camera on it, I cannot move, okay? Now, I do clever things to make it look like there's more space in here for you guys so you can see things, and I'm going to do a video showing you genuinely how big this greenhouse is, but I'm hoping this is going to help me to do some more filming. So that's why it's weird that you're seeing me kind of coming up to move the camera from here, and I'm on my tiptoes. But I'm hoping this will actually help. Extreme close up. Whoa. Right, okay. So, oh, you're squint. Kate will give me in trouble if I leave you squint. God, the longer I spend in the greenhouse, the worse my hair gets. This was my capillary bed. New this year, because basically I'm growing so much more in the greenhouse this year, it was getting quite difficult to keep on top of things. Now, I now only have Crocosmia, and these are the Crocosmia lucifer, which you saw me collect the seeds for last year video. So this is these. I've got loads of these guys. I'm also on my third flush of marigolds. So these are the marigolds that I sowed in spring, and you watched me bringing these on, and they've all gone out in the garden. As you can see, these are now getting some flowers of spent and new flowers coming. So spent flowers gave me seeds, which is what these guys are. So yeah, so it's the gift that keeps on giving. But this capillary matting bed, basically, it's a big trough, which is actually just the bottom of my sunhouse propagator. And I've propped a wooden board in there with this capillary matting, same stuff that's in the quadgrows, and it's dripping off the sides, hanging off the sides into that kind of trough, which becomes a water reservoir. So the idea is it soaks the water along this mat, as you can see, which is wet, and that then waters plants from the bottom, so I don't have to water from the top. What it does mean for you guys who are maybe thinking about this and you've been watching my updates, you will notice all of this is dry on top, okay? So there is that feeling of, oh, I have to water. Don't need to, because it's actually damp underneath. So it's dry on top because that's where it evaporates from, but it's been watered from underneath, so you don't need to water when it's on this bed. I like this, I'm keeping this. Okay, last thing then. Quadgrow Plus that has my herbs and stuff in it. And my peppers. Can't forget my peppers. Because it's so bright, I can't see the screen, so I can't see if I'm in shot or not. So apologies if you've got my voice and actually all you can see on screen is like my back or something. But Quadgrow Plus. So I have California Wonder peppers, and I keep forgetting, it's not Romanesco and it's not Roma. I have the memory of a goldfish, right? These are the peppers that I called Roma originally, when I was planting them up and they were tiny. So this is them now, okay? And in the middle, I've got basil, okay? Which is the shop bought basil that I did the video on about how you can keep your basil from the shop grown, stop it from dying. I have now got loads of this stuff, okay? Beside it, I've got 2 pots of French tarragon, which we love and we use a lot of. So every year I grow loads of it and then discover I've grown too much because we don't use as much as we think we use. And I've got dill, which we haven't used any of this year, but some years we do use loads. So again, big water trough reservoir, 30 litres, the same as with the quadgrows, and pots with capillary matting. But the difference I did this year is that normally this would have one big square salad box type thing on there that you would grow things, and that's what I did last year, and I really didn't like it. Everything was so crowded together that I ended up, I had all sorts of mould growing, I had aphids and green flies and everything like you couldn't believe just in this bit, and it really basically did my nut in last year. So this is not how you're meant to use it. I'm totally making it up as I go along. But I've got 4 chili grow pots, which are smaller than quadgrow pots, and I've got my herbs in them, and then the outside is my 4 pepper plants. And I've just noticed this, so hang on. Some little bugger is eating my plants. Right, okay, so that, can you see it's got holes in it, but also chewed around the edge. So here we go, here's a fun poll then. Comments, let me know what you think's eating it. Because we have lots of new gardeners on this channel, but we've got lots of really experienced gardeners as well who teach me lots of cool things. So what's eating that, just for fun? My Little UK Garden on Instagram. Hiya! Someone else that comments a lot and chats a lot about the garden. She is having a nightmare with earwigs eating things in her new greenhouse this year, which is much bigger than mine, and I'll let her tell you just how many tomato plants she's got. So if you put a comment below this video and let everybody know how mad your greenhouse is, and put a link to your your Instagram channel so they can see. But she's having a nightmare with earwigs and things this year, so go and give her some love, guys, because it's really getting to her. But so yeah, so that is my quadgrow. at the minute I can see I've started to get flowers on all of my peppers, which is a bit annoying because I'm running behind. I had planned to do a video about topping peppers with you guys, and I'm not sure if I've left it too late. So Luke from the Welsh Chilli channel, I'm going to get in touch with you to talk about topping and get some advice from you. You guys who grow chilli peppers, go and see Luke's channel because he's the man for this stuff. Yeah, so basically that is the June garden update because it's the last week in June. We are now officially into summer and it is glorious. We're now harvesting from our garden. We're eating herbs, we're eating salad, which is actually on the window ledge in the kitchen. Yeah, still garden. I won and I've chopped the horrible spiky things off the flax, New Zealand flax stroke, forgotten the word again. Look, it's the morning and it's hot and stuffy and I can't remember words. You know, the begins with a P, can't remember the name of the big grass thing. Yes, hi, I'm Eli, I'm a professional. Yeah, so we're starting to kind of see it all going and there's bits and bobs that are changing as we go. Now that we're coming into summer is when things really kick off in my garden. Because summer in Scotland is a bit better weather. It's more like a good spring for the guys down south, to give you an idea, and absolutely nothing like people who grow in San Diego and things like that. So yeah, to give you an idea, it's going to be 18 degrees today and that's a scorcher in Scotland. We had 26 this week, which was crazy. We never get temperatures like that. Too hot. So summer is awesome and it's when stuff starts to pick up and it's when we'll really be able to start seeing differences. So when I do updates, you're really going to be able to start seeing the big difference. I'm having to start pruning the heck out of these tomato plants now because they grow this way and they actually just make it hard to get in and out the greenhouse. But that's fine. That's life and that's the way it goes. Right, okay guys, before I go then, as usual, I use the analytics to let me know what you like and the kind of stuff you want to see. So if this is the kind of content you want, thumbs up down below. And if you don't already know about it, if you want to get notified every time I post a video so you don't miss anything, you need to hit subscribe and that little bell icon, okay? That little bell puts you in charge of the notifications. If you leave it in the hands of YouTube, they'll just send you occasional ones, okay? So if you're like me, you like being in charge of things. But as always, thank you so much for joining me on a wee wander around the garden because you know what? I actually absolutely love chatting to you guys about this stuff. I love when you all comment and we talk about our gardens and stuff. It's brilliant. Oh, life is hard, isn't it? Yeah. See you. I'm going to go get an iced coffee. Kate's doing the shopping, so she'll never know. I'll go eat the good stuff. We got new coffee today. Oh, nothing like a fresh bag of coffee, just roasted.